Hey everybody, this is Brendan here with Common Motor, common-motor.com on the internet, and today is going to be part of a long multi-part series. We are going to be tearing down this engine bolt by bolt and laying all the pieces out so you can see it all spread out on the table. All right, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take off all the bolts on the bottom of the engine case here. I'm going to hit them with a little bit of penetrating oil, but we're going to give you guys a little trick to help you keep your bolts organized, because now they're in different positions and they're in different lengths, and they are particular how the case goes together. So we want to make sure that the same bolt will go back into the same position in the case. We're going to do that with a piece of cardboard, and we're going to make a little template with that. But we'll get to that in just a second, but first a little bit of penetrating oil. All this stuff here. There are several bolts, and I'll call them out as we are removing them. I'll leave them in place. I'm ready. You good? So those are the smaller bolts that have M6. There's 4 larger bolts here. They're going to use should be an M12 to remove. Ready? In there. There it goes. Piece of cardboard, a Sharpie, and we're going to say front. Arrow facing that way. And over here. Top. Remember, we took 2 bolts out of the top, so I'm going to put those right here. And I'm going to actually start at the back. So as I pull a bolt out, I'm going to punch a hole in this to represent where it goes on the case. Small one. Oh, there's a big one next to it. Much bigger that bolt is. there. I believe that is all of them. I'll do a double check here in a moment. I'll even do this. We'll even put the drain plug on here. Our drain plug as a reference. Something you can have a reference on. Our two top ones, they're the same length. So I'm just gonna put them in here. Stick them in here. All right, that should be all the bolts. Keep in that order for reassembly, especially if you take them out to clean them. Make sure you put them back. That just keeps everything organized in position. Old mechanic trick here. I'm going to point out two details here on the case. It's the areas that you can actually hit on with a punch so they separate, because you don't want to hit the wrong thing and break it. A lot of people hit like on this, they break it off. There's two specific spots on the back. There's this flat right here. That's on the lower case where you can take the punch. We're going to hit it there on that side to separate the rear. And in the front, there is one. Let me just flip this over. Right underneath where the electric starter would go. So there's a flat right here on the upper side of the case. It's not here, it's there. So you can actually tap on that to separate the cases out. So I think we'll just go ahead and start with it there. I'm using a steel punch, but ideally I should be using a brass punch. But it shouldn't be a big deal for this. We're not gonna hit it really hard. And if you're hitting the cases and it's not coming apart, you might still have a bolt in there you forgot about. So just keep that in mind. It should kind of pop right apart. There it is. Already separated on that side. One hit. See how it separated? It didn't really hit it all that hard. Okay. Maybe I'll turn it upside down. We'll actually pull the case off. Kind of like that. Should be able to wiggle this cover off now. Look at that. Here it comes. The moment you all feared. Transmission's not outside, that's okay. All right, here's our crankcase apart. There's our transmission shafts right there. I'll put this aside for a second. I'm gonna scoot some of the stuff over here on the bench so we can see a little bit better. Okay. There's our clutch push rod seal. Gone. You notice that in the front, right there where we were tapping on it, here in the back, and then also near the front, there's alignment dowels, holes here and here. Keep that in mind when putting it back together. This is a transmission gear or transmission bearing for this shaft. Ready for this? It just lifts out. Well, usually, there we go. Just lifts out like that. You want to keep this group together here. Got a seal, output shaft seal. Okay, so our output shaft transmission. Put that over here. So there's our lower crankcase, and then here's our Kickstarter mechanism. We'll take that out here in a little bit, but I'll come back to it. But there's another detail I want to point out here on this lower case. It's this little rubber ball right here. It's a stopper for the oil pump. That little rubber ball seal needs to be there. Something else to check out is this pan. It's a windage tray or an oil tray. Sometimes they're cracked. It has two screws that hold it in place and then two rivets to hold it in place. If you have to remove it, two screws got to come out and then you have to file around the rivets to take it out. I don't suggest doing it unless you absolutely have to. I'd say leave it in place for most people. So yeah, oil pan, and then you can go ahead and pop out the other seals here. Like this is the shift shaft seal. Just real gently pry it out. Come on. Come on. Go ahead and take the second transmission shaft out. I'm gonna hold the bearing on it. Same thing, it just wiggles out, just like that. Now, here's a couple other little pieces you have to pay attention to. So these little rings here, they go in the groove. It looks like half of a piston ring. There's a bearing on the transmission with that groove in it as well. There's one here, there's one here. Do not lose these, do not break them. They're impossible to find. So those two are very important. And then there's a pin here and a pin here. And a lot of times they're stuck because there's a bunch of oil behind them and they don't come out easy. You have to use a magnet to kind of fight that. There it goes. One. There it goes, come on. Two. You're fighting some of that friction from the oil, holding it in place. Don't lose that stuff, super important, okay? Crankshaft, and this is our shift drum and shift forks. We'll go ahead and pull the crankshaft off and then we'll do the shift drum later. 4 bolts right here, hold this bearing cap in place. On those one parts, I'm going to mark its location. Front. Front. Okay. Here comes the crankshaft. Now this one has to have like full ball bearings right here. There are other bikes that have the roller bearings, and this will slide off. So just be mindful when you're taking them out not to dump the bearings everywhere. I'm not worried about this one. It's gonna be pretty easy. I'm just gonna give it a gentle tap to get it loose. There it goes. We got 2 middle bearings here with little pins in them as well, so don't drop those or lose them. Here's our crankshaft. There, like that. Take that pin out. Come on. If we can get it out, it's kind of stuck in there pretty good. Have the other one. That one wanted to come out. All right. Gonna have to wiggle that one. Just real gentle. There it goes. Again, I don't want to lose that stuff. The original cam chain, we can just take that off. So, all right, here's our crankshaft. It's all kind of one piece. You're not gonna really mess with it other than checking it, inspecting the bearings and such on it. So that's that. I'm gonna go put this aside, out of the way here. Put it over here. Just put it there. That's fine. I also want to point out there's a pin up here for the crankshaft. Much like the transmission ones. Pull that one out real gently. It's oil stiction that's holding it in place. It's not like it's stuck. There it goes. Alignment pin right there. All right, next we're gonna take out the shift drum and the shift forks. This is another operation where we want to be very diligent with our hook or our screwdriver and be using the magnet because we don't want these little pins and clips to fly around. Okay, got my handy dandy magnet. I'll hold that very close up here. And then there is a clip. I'm gonna pull this clip out. These are very specific clips. Another part like do not lose. There we go. Come on. On the magnet you go. That's what it looks like. Clip 1. Any different? They're all the same. Oh, there goes the pin. That's the pin that holds the shift fork to the drum. See how that slides now? That pin came out of that hole there. So you gotta keep those with the shift fork. I'm gonna put that aside as a little group. Slide that one out of the way. Same thing here. And also notice how the clip, it comes like through the backside here, and the flat of the clip is what covers up the pin. So where's our screwdriver? Same thing. You can probably see it better from this angle. There's the clip coming out right there. Just like that. The clip. All right, put that aside. See if we can get our pin out. There it goes. Our pin. And here comes that last pin right there. Okay, so now all three shift forks are loose on the drum. What else I gotta do over here? I gotta take off, this is our neutral switch on this side, so we'll take that off, and then we'll take off the retainer that holds the drum in place. A little cam. This is what actuates the switch. The switch is right here. Go ahead and take that out too. All right. Make sure you keep those two together. So here is the end of our shift drum, and there's actually a seal that we'll pry that seal out once it's all apart, but there is a seal there on that side. So let's flip the case over here. Okay, we're gonna take out this lock right here, but we're not gonna take that one out. I'll ask about that one a lot. We're not gonna take that one out. Just take this out real quick. This washer is particular for this, so make sure you do not lose this washer. And also there's a spring here. So there's detail here. See how that spring has a little pointy on it? That goes into a hole inside the case, so you have to remember that going in. And then this mechanism comes out right here. See, there's a little machine spacer. That. So we're gonna make sure we put this all together with our bolts, so we don't keep track of it. There, and then this little guy comes right off. So which way we gotta go with it? That way. That comes off. There's a little wheel on it. That's the shift actuator fork. Now I'm gonna pull the shift drum out, and the shift forks I want to drop. I wanna make sure I put them back in the order I took them out in, because you can reverse things and get them mixed up and you'll be confused. This just like lifts out of here. Come on. Gasket's in the way. Peel that away. All right, see that a little better. It just lifts out. The bottom fork first. Bottom fork, second fork, third fork. It's a shift drum. It's like a little maze. One, two, three. Just keep them in order on there. Put the pins back in if you want, but at least keep them in order so you know how they go back. You know, that pretty much concludes the disassembly of the upper case here. I still have like a dowel pin here I can remove, and then there's that seal for the shift drum I can take off, but we can do that off camera. I'm not too worried about that, and I'm sure you guys can figure that part out. But yeah, there's the upper crankcase there. I'm gonna put it aside off camera, and then we're gonna take apart the kickstart on the lower case. All right, last thing to take apart on the crankcase here is to take out the kickstart shaft, and actually the first thing I'll take off is going to be the spring here from the case. You see that little coil on the top there. You can tilt it up. There's that coil spring there. And I'm gonna take that off. All I'm gonna do is just pop it loose off the case here, right? Nope, hitting the oil, the dowel pin too. I can either take the dowel pin out or I can just pry it over the dowel pin. There we go, like that. It just takes the tension off the Kickstarter right there. So now it's loose. Now I know it's gonna be hard to see on the camera. Right here, there's a little snap ring right there on the end of the shaft. We're gonna pull the snap ring off, and then the whole thing just goes bleep. Slides apart. So we will need our 90-degree snap ring pliers for this one. Okay. There we go. There we go. Snap ring. Little retaining arm doodad. So there's a washer that fell off. I don't remember where the washer goes exactly. I think it's at it fell off pretty quick. I think it's right underneath the snap ring. Small spring. Gotta keep all this stuff in order as it's coming off. The next spring right here. Our gear. Tight fit. All right. Here's our starter gear, and there's an alignment washer in it that's gotta check that out. Put it back in there. And here's our Kickstart assembly. I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble the stack right now, so I don't lose my order and orientation. There, and that, and that. Got it. Hold it roughly together. The snap ring's seen better days. All right, transmission shaft is out. I'll put our stack back together here. So should be good for later. This concludes the Honda CB350 engine teardown and disassembly video. Our next steps are to take all these oily and dirty pieces, wash them, inspect them, and see where we are with them. Once we have that, then we will film the reassembly video, which might be a video or two. We'll have to figure it out. We haven't figured it out yet, but we'll take you along for the ride. With that, I'm gonna close this out and say this is Running with Common Motor, common-motor.com on the internet. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow us on social media, so Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our newsletter via our website. And of course, subscribe to this YouTube channel right down below. Make sure you ring the bell for notifications, and we will see you on the rebuild video.